Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Races Driving League for Season 19, Round 7 of the Championship. Welcome back to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Looking forward to what should be a fantastic encounter this evening here at the Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari. One of the longer names in terms of circuits on the calendar in Formula 1. Of course, formerly the San Marino Grand Prix once upon a time. But even regardless of the name change, we keep the circuit and keep the running as we always have done. Fast to the limit around the 19 corners to make up this circuit, and as I say, it should be a very close encounter over the course of the night. So qualifying then gets underway. The first few cars emerging here out onto the circuit for the first runs of the evening, and we should be expecting a quick retirement from one driver in the order, that driver being Imri. After the crash on the first lap last week in Miami, Imri was handed a qualifying ban for that incident, and as a result will start likely from dead last during this Grand Prix, and we should expect to see Grumio joining us mid-qualifying as well. So things all should be very entertaining. We may see potentially the complexity of both Imri and Grumio perhaps fighting their way through the field over the course of the evening. That could be a lot of fun to keep an eye out for. But for another focus keeps out on the racetrack here, the fifth and final LiDAR scan circuit we visit this season. There is Imri retiring from the session. We'll see him in about an hour's time for the start of the Grand Prix. We'll focus now on his temporary teammate, Card Carrot 41, reserving in place of Matthew this evening. So we're right on board here then with Card Carrot as he comes through to start his first lap of the qualifying sessions out of turn 18. And towards the little right hander that is turn 19 to end off one lap and begin a new one. So across the line, there's a long run down to that first corner. Turn 1 technically here, and obviously turn 2 awaiting at the end of going into the Tamburello chicane. Formerly one long sweeping left-hander for a safety change is made back in the 1990s. Running wide there, corner exit, leaving turns 2 through turn 3 and 4. Slides out turn 4, but saves the car. Keeps himself rolling, but invalidates his first lap. So not a fantastic start there for Card Carrot, making his third straight reserve appearance. So works through them for the lone Red Bull now in qualifying to get himself back going again. We'll keep an eye now on one of the cars behind us on an outlap. That will be EJ, who's just emerging out of turn 4 now. So we're on board with EJ now and going into the Villeneuve chicane, turns 5 and 6. We head up to one of my favourite corner names on the F1 calendar, Tosa, turn 7, the left-hander up the hill. A lot of elevation change over the course of the lap here at Imola. Up the hill now, going up towards turn 8, and of course at the end of turn 8 will be the left-hander, practically almost blind, of turn 9. And down through 10 into Aquaman Raleigh, that little complex 11, 12 and 13. Heavy braking applied there. And Dan goes fast, it's 1 minute 14.908. Dan, of course, won this race last season for his first career victory in the RDL. And into the last sector now for EJ. We'll see what he's got going in towards the last two corners. The two we're about to see waiting turns 17 and 18. Keeping the car nice and controlled here on corner exit. Brashman goes second fastest. Where did EJ stack himself? EJ towards the line, be a 1 minute 16, thinking. No, 1 minute 15.9. So just behind the Sauber of Brashman, both those guys about a second or so, or just under a second, back from Dan, who sets the fastest time to start things off. And no Che on the grid tonight as well. So Dan sitting in today as just a lone Haas in qualifying in this session. So no Grumio right now, no Che right now. The top two then in the Drivers' Championship, both of them out as it stands right now. I believe Grumio may join, as I say, may join us later on in qualifying. But he may well be started last. And we have got what I believe is a returning name in the RDL tonight, a driver who's been here in the past, Ben 357 Lim, for his F125 debut in the RDL. And there it is on the bottom of your screen, the ominous sign for everyone on the grid. Grumio has joined the session with plenty of time left in Q1, so Grumio is going to be right there at the front of the order. If we look at, of course, it's been dominance from Grumio so far. 5 wins from the opening 6 rounds. Only Pope has actually managed to take victory away from Grumio this season, and that was in Jeddah 2 weeks ago. But last week, Grumio returned to winning ways, dominated Miami, and really went 29 laps without reply, without any sort of challenge, save for Che in the mid-portion of the Grand Prix. Ben pits in. So, in terms of our previous Ben, who has unfortunately left the league following last week's race in Miami. So, as of right now, the RB seat is vacant. So, the seat doesn't belong to Ben Lem per se. Or whether there's an announcement perhaps during the week. We'll see how performance goes for him in the Grand Prix tonight. And whether he'll have the chops to join our other 19 drivers on the grid. Of course, we've already seen a change or two this season. Of course, Obsessed just 3 weeks ago departed the league. In terms of driving, he was replaced by Ericsson, who himself is being replaced by Brashman as a reserve tonight. So 3 reserves in the race this evening. All 3 reserves in use. And of course, the only driver who's not here is Che, as it stands right now, in terms of cars missing the grid. There is Pope going through turns 2 and 3. Of course, Pope winning this race back in season 17. It's just 2 seasons to go, about a calendar year at this stage. This was his return on F1 24. Of course, he's taken victory since coming back to racing. Running a rather striking black, pink, and green helmet there. I do quite like the look of that. Of course, as I say, Pope, the lone race winner that hasn't been Grumio this season. Dan's retired from the session P1, so I think it's safe to say Dan is through to Q2. Can Pope, of course, one of those few previous Imola winners, can he try and join Dan up there, up the top? 49.6 in second sector. He's really pushing it here as he makes his way out of turn 15. And 3 more corners to come to complete the lap off here. Keeping the lap valid as he rounds turn 19. It'll be 1 minute 14 for Pope. Pope goes fastest. 1 minute 14.863. So on top there. 18 to third place. 1 minute 15.030. Grumio's on that lap. Landed on his time run. 49.499 in second sector. Perhaps the toe off his teammate incoming. Moves out the way there. So Landlord emerges from turn 19 now towards the line. He goes faster himself. Oh, 1 minute 14.650. So whether there was much toe for from AT, it definitely helped. But I'll tell you what, AT, no matter who he's working with, does a fantastic job of either getting the toe or receiving the toe. He makes those partnerships work. But P4 from now, so his teammate jumps him in the order. HP Cook P5, Brashman P6, EJ P7, Ethan P8, Curtis P9, and Ben rounds out your top 10. Those 2 Ferraris are looking a fair bit stronger in qualifying, or just overall in recent weeks. Of course, I've had a bit of bad luck to start the season off, if you think for no further than Japan. As it stands right now, those guys, 9th place in the championship, with Cock goes fastest, 1 minute 14.3. We're looking at 14s here as sort of the benchmark for the top times, I should think. And whether we see perhaps any 30s towards the end of Q3, just have to find out there. Grumio invalidated his first lap. Of course, but he did that last week. Not a fantastic start then from the reigning champion. Pope retiring there from P3. But again, those guys luckily safe in Q2. As it stands, we'll be losing 4 drivers. One of them we know for sure will be Imri, so 3 more from here. HP Cook lets one of the Red Bulls go. Let's Card Carrot go. PJ Colour there in P11 as it stands right now. Close to the drop zone. Things remarkably close between the bottom 4 teams in the Constructors, in which Aston Martin sits in 8th place. Just 11 points to their name this season, so it's been a relatively tough start for the Astons. But in terms of gaps, as Ben retires from P15 there, Has he crashed? No, I don't think he has. Whether he's just putting the car over. But regardless, though, so as it stands right now, then if any of JB, Alvar, or Cottony set a faster lap time than what we've got now, then Ben will be out qualifying, along with Imri. 7.5 minutes to go, so there's time for things to change. Majority of cars set lap times now. Just wait till Cottony Goblin's come through and set a lap. He's in the garage right now. JB P16, first car out right now, 1 minute 16.739. A lot of cars on the circuit as of right now. Anyone nearing the end of the lap? We'll keep an eye on one of the Ferraris here. That will be EJ, who's down right now, so that's Curtis. Card Carrot clears the way. Curtis, though, 9 points in the first 6 rounds, gets him up to P13 in the championship. I think it's fair to say that the points this season, I don't think have been almost as, I don't know, evenly distributed as we've seen them in previous seasons. Curtis pitting there. Two Sauers there, P7, P8, good sorry, P8, P9 now, good spots for those guys so far. It's going to go second fastest, 1 minute 14.455. Not catching Cott. As we've seen Grumio and Cott go head to head in qualifying and on race starts before. It's often Grumio who gets the edge. Of course, Cott is also carrying that long winless streak, much like that of the San Marino national team. Ironically, given the location of tonight's race. Grumio in there, making his heading back to the garage, and Mace for a second run, but I think he's likely safe in Q2 along with Cott, Landlord, Pope, and Dan. Webbsy there, P7 now. So less cars out to the circuit then, and a car carrier with missing end plates there, so a bit of damage to that front wing, which could be a concern for him. I should think that's coming pit to replace that. But you see him trying to sort of navigate himself back to the pits as smoothly as he can. JB on the circuit here. As it stands right now, P16. But can knock Ben out with a solid run here. End of the first sector, 7/10 down, and I think calling this lap, calling it quits on this one. I think seeking to go again. Got the Goblin on the circuit there, on the outlap. One of what is now 2 drivers on the current grid yet to score this season. So just him and Ericsson. But Mercedes, though, currently sitting in P5 in the Constructors' Championship. The point scoring efforts of both Pope and Aussie in the early rounds. Both Grumio and AT retiring here, so only Landlord in that top 6 is still currently in this session. I doubt he'll go back out again. I should imagine he'll retire. I can't see him getting much more from another lap. One of the assets going through there, that will be Ethan. He's around the last few corners, but 3.2 seconds down. And pitting in. Got the Goblin start now, and they're up towards turn 2. RBs there in front of him. 24-3 in the first sector. As Alvar lets him go without much trouble there. Of course, Ben's still safe as of right now. JB leaving the last corner now towards the line. And it goes to P13. But Ben though is still confusing, still in P15. Card Carrot 41 is now the car in the drop zone. But good lap there from JB. That should keep him safe for a bit longer here. At least going on to these last runs. Cotley Goblin, meanwhile, is coming through to the line. Goes P18 there, 1 minute 16.792. So slowest time so far in terms of raw pace. Alvar there in P17 starting his lap. And this will likely be his last attempt to get himself into Q2 here. It'll be very tough for these guys down the order, and the pressure will be on. But we've seen Alvar clutch his way out of Q1 before. We'll see if he's got what it takes today. PJ Caleb retires. PJ P14 as it stands right now. So if 2 of the 3 cars below him improve, that can improve, he's out. 7 tenths up for Alvar then. And he needs a bit more than that. If he can get about another quarter of a second, that should do it for him in terms of getting us into Q2. And that should knock Ben out. And Courtney Goblin likely set in terms of his quali lap. And I think he's likely going to be out. Card Carrot, he's got one more chance here to get himself into Q2. Needs to improve by about 3 or 4 tenths. Perhaps or more, depending on where Alvar puts himself. Hang on a minute. I think we've got a bug here in terms of time order, because Ben's lap is 1 minute 15.8, but PJ's is 1 minute 16.1. So PJ, it should be the car in P15 right now. Alvar went to P16 there, not enough. So it's looking like these 3 cars are the ones going out as it stands right now. Courtney's on the last lap. Card Carrot's improving a little bit, but not enough as it stands right now as he goes into the last 2 Ravatas. Cott will top the session from Grumio and Landlord, your top 3. But who is your bottom 4? Imri will start last. Where do Courtney, Card Carrot and Alvar put themselves? Card Carrot needs about 3 tenths or so, leaving this last sector towards the line. Up to P14 there. And the bug fixed itself. And PJ, now the car there in the bottom 4. So PJ is out. Cotley Goblin improving by a 10th here. Not enough. He needs more than that right now as he comes through towards the last few corners in the circuit to complete qualifying. Just waiting on these 2. Courtney and the RB behind him, Alvar. Towards the line. Courtney stays P18 and Alvar pitting. So that'll do it then. Both cars go out. Ben squeezes through. But close end to proceedings here in Q1. As the RB team get Alvar back into the pit lane. Unfortunately out this time. So P1 then in the first qualifying sessions goes to Cott in the first, Landlord second, and Grumio in 3rd place. And more action is still coming your way here because Q2 will be set to get underway shortly. Here we go then, time for Q2, and in a moment of bizarreness here, well, two things happened in the last 2 minutes or so. So the rain has started to fall, the heavens have opened here at Imola, intermediate tyres, and now looking like the weapon of choice, and we're down to 14 cars here in qualifying 2. So what's happened in terms of when we're missing one car? Ben, I think, should have squeezed through in P15, but not to be. So down by one car going into Q2, but of course the aim is still the exact same. We'll be looking at seeing who's got the speed to get themselves into Q3 to try and race for pole. Of course, Che has been the dominant force so far in qualifying this season. Grumio took a pole. We saw Emery take a pole several rounds ago, but of course, two of the pole systems this season can't take pole today. So in terms of pole systems, then, in terms of the ones who could get a second today, it could be either Cott or it could be Grumio. So JB there in P14, the last of the cars. You see, speaking of Cott, Cott's taking a risk here. He's going out on the soft tyre for his first qualifying run. I'm thinking that might be an unwise call here because you see cars stuck up behind him. And he's struggling to sort of fight to control there. There's no real dry line on the circuit in this case, but bunching a number of cars up here. And then we hope those guys will want clean air for their runs. As Cott has to get himself out of the way as soon as he can, really. I shouldn't be able to get a good lap on these soft tyres. Dan starts in the first lap now. We'll keep an eye on the map, see if Cott pits. And he is pitting. So a bold move from Cott. Didn't perhaps pay off this time around, but Dano is leaving at turn 4 and going towards 5. So into Venov chicane he goes. Keeping the car under control in these now tricky conditions. Things have really shifted in terms of what pace is like and control of the car. Especially at a circuit that can be such a high speed circuit in certain parts. But recovering the car from those low speed corners will be a bit more of a task here compared to the dry conditions. As Dan makes his way into Aqua Minerale. Aqua in a slightly more realistic sense this week. The confusion is still there as to where P15 has gone and why Ben has not been able to take part in this second part of the session, and therefore will start P15 for the Grand Prix. As Dan comes through to the last few corners to complete his first run of this session. EJ's there in P8, also on his first run. Cott the only car in the pits that stands right now. Yellow flag for one of the Saabs slowly going down towards turn 11. We'll come back to that shortly, see who that was. As Dan comes towards the line to complete the first lap, 1 minute 25.6. And that was Brashman, who's slow in one of the kick stabs as Pope struggles there through the chicane. Big slide from Brashman too. JB second fastest. Grumio now into second place, 18 to third. JB stepping down the order. Curtis and Ethan coming through now. We're seeing car after car make their times come through. And yellow flag again, these two Saubers. Landlord fastest, 125.5. Pope into third. I think both these two. Down to P7, Brashman's P11. Slowest time so far, backed off a lot over the course of that lap. Cott now on his intermediate tyres. Just made the change then. I think he's made the right call to not run a risk of trying to do a lap and perhaps crash in the car and not bring it back. So we'll see where Cott puts himself in terms of wet weather pace as he runs down towards the chicane here. But Landlord though fastest. And Landlord, a driver who hasn't won since almost a season ago. I'm sure he'd like to try and break that streak. He's been up there a lot more often in recent weeks. And I see no reason why at some stage you can't break through. looking ahead over the course of the next month, though, perhaps to Austria, where he won last season as a highlight. He's always been good around the Red Bull Ring. And from what I'm seeing here in the Discord chat, it appeared that Ben was auto-retired midway through Q1, because it turns out he may have actually crashed and we didn't catch it on camera, so apologies for that. But Landlord stays fastest, so it looks as though the RB team will be fixing the damage from that crash, and as a result, Ben won't be able to continue on into Q2. At least I'm assuming that that's the story that I'm being told. 13 cars set times. Where is Cock? Cock coming in towards the last sector now. 58.093 on the board for the Alpine, and looking for us. I was trying to avoid sliding there out of turns 14 and 15. As he comes down here towards the last few corners to complete his first lap of the session, his first proper lap of the session on the Inters. Where does Cock go to? He goes to the line here to complete his lap. It's a 1:27.0. He's gone from top of the session to P9 here. Just a bit of a downfall there from Cock as the rain has come with it. Yellow flag down sector 1, one of the slow cars. That's Curtis backing off for one of the Williams machines. They're leaving turn 4. So the rain not particularly easing off in any way. I think the conditions are actually getting worse on the circuit. So this could be one of those rare cases where we see dry tyres used in Q1, or inters in Q2, and wets in Q3, so we get heavier. Because we've had that before. Whether we see it again, perhaps this season. Grumio down his tyre by 1.6 tenths. And speaking of wet tyres, you can see Dan there in P3. Look at that change as Grumio invalidates his lap. So we could see a bit of wet weather running here midway through Q2. HB Cook, EJ, Card Carrot, and Ethan are currently the 4 cars going out. Through 2 and 3. End of the first sector, down by a second there, so the conditions deteriorating, not helping in terms of lap time here, and there is no real sort of dry point in the circuit. It's now just wet, and we may see more than one driver, I think, having a look at that wet tyre and thinking, is this the tyre to be on at this stage of qualifying? I think Dan, you can see Dan thinking about it, whether he takes the plunge and goes for it. It'll be very interesting to see regardless, as there goes AT invalidating on his lap. JB in P8 right now, so he got himself into Q2 from P13. Looking for another Q3 appearance if he can. And Grumio retires, the first car to retire from this session. He's good he's in P4 right now. AD across the line there in P5. We'll see what sort of time he puts in on the intermediate tyre. We'll get a sense of whether he perhaps needs to pit for a set wets, as Cott did. Wide there and off into the gravel. Dan retires as well. So 4 minutes, just under 5 minutes left to go, 4.5. And still HB Cook, EJ, Card, Carrot, and Ethan going out as it stands. Jamie completes the second sector, down by 7/10 here as Lando retires. So, yep, you can definitely see the change now. The wet tyres, I should think, will be the ones in play as JB runs wide. They're leaving turn 15. Gravel Trap is waiting from a corner exit. And I wonder what we're looking like weather-wise for the Grand Prix. Truthfully, I can't remember the last time I actually saw it rain here at Imola. So JB into the pit lane to Dan and didn't take the risk on those wet tyres, but Cott is out for a second lap on his inters. Yellow flag in the pit lane as JB retires. But things could get interesting here, or rather more interesting, given the changing conditions over the between Q1 and Q2. It was a very short little break we took, but the rain started falling. But no takers for the full wets, at least as of yet. We'll see if the rain gets heavier between Q2 and Q3, and that might really spice things up. Curtis half second down right now. No one really improving in terms of lap times here, and that's going to be a concern for the guys in the bottom four. Curtis is not one of those 4 cars, but should 2 cars improve with 3, they will be. So got starting another lap here. See what he's got. Not a lot of improvement in terms of that first sector. See Pope now looking at wet tyres. It's really hard to tell if drivers are backing off from the conditions or whether they're just slow on corner exit. Sector now, down by 1.6. I'm thinking likely, short of any miraculous improvements, I think that will likely do it for qualifying with just over a minute to go. So good on those drivers then who managed to get a lap in before the rain started hitting in Q2, sorry. They're not improving either. Check a flag will fall in about 30 seconds or so, if that. $40 seconds. And Pope on an outlap on these wet tyres here. We'll see what sort of time he puts in. And we'll see from there whether the wet's perhaps the way to go in Q3. So this could be a crucial lap as insight of everyone else. Never mind for Pope. It's turn 1 then, 15 seconds to go. And EJ trying to get himself into Q3. He needs about 3 tenths more. Now the last corner for EJ towards the line. P12 from EJ's out. Ethan is also out. Card Carrot and HB Cook to the 2 cars. Waiting to set laps on. But Landlord, Pope, Dan and Groomy on AT are top 5 as it stands. Websy, Cott, Brashman, JB and Curtis as it stands. Jordan those guys in Q3. Who gets knocked out from here? There's anyone's guess. It could potentially be both Curtis and JB should both cars improve here. HB Cook, they're up by 3/10, which could be enough. Perhaps to knock Curtis out, put both Ferraris out in Q2. Card Carrot half second up. Both these guys are doing enough right now to perhaps knock out both Curtis and JB. Last corner towards the line. Can either car do it? HB Cook can. Card Carrot cannot. Only P12 then for Card Carrot 41. But well, there you go. Shock end to qualifying then. A late change. As you saw, HB Cook in the saddle against himself into Q3, along with his teammate Brashman. Curtis, Card Carrot, EJ, and Ethan all out. And now we wait then just for Q3 to get underway. Here we go then. Q3 is now upon us. 10 cars left in the session. Not missing any. And we're set here to see who will take pole position number 7 of the campaign. Only Cotton and Grumio have got a chance to take pole number 2 this season. Everyone else going for pole number 1. And of course, it's a long run to that first corner on the Grand Prix start. So this positioning on the grid could be crucial later on. Quite imagine ups there. As fast as Q1, but we're struggling in Q2 though. Keep an eye out in terms of how close things are for pole. In terms of teams then, we're looking at 3 teams who got both their cars into... No, apologies, we're looking at... No, I'm right, 3 teams. Alpine, McLaren, Williams. Sorry, no, I'm still wrong. Alpine, McLaren, Williams, Sauber. It's just Mercedes and Haas with 1 car. So everyone on the circuit then looking to see who will emerge in their first lap in front. And the rain is lightened slightly, but still not looking like anything other than Inters right now. First car in front of Cott is that of Brashman. So we're on board with Brashman and starts Q3 lap. Let's crank things up. There we go then. Strong first sector from Brashman to get this underway. Kept the car under control as he goes through turn 7 now. Up the hill towards 8. He's got Cott there behind him. First car back as he goes towards turn 9. Be careful in terms of track limit, especially in these sliding conditions. And where the brake is obviously falls back a fair bit as he slides there through turn 12 a bit. Keeps the car under wraps, but the slide was enough there. How much will that cost him, if at all? As he goes to the chicane. Last sector now and looking for a strong end to the lap. Getting caught behind him. His teammate HB Cook bringing up the rear of the entire train for qualifying laps. Last corner then, towards the line, or rather towards the last corner here, turn 19. Complete his first lap, it's 1 minute 24.6. Cock puts it 1:23.5, so about over a second in front. JB second, down faster than that, 1:23.035. Pope now faster, 1:22.8. And the time's dropping like flies here. Grumio third fastest, Webbsy there into third. Landlord towards the line, Landlord second fastest. Only 18 HP Cook to come. 80 towards the line. 1:23.3 off P6. And HP Cook towards the line. Complete his first lap, 1:24.988. The slowest time so far. But Pope then wins that first round of qualifying laps. Can he hold it in the second run? So no one then going for a second lap as the looks of things. We'll see later on. Well, I imagine we'll get one more lap in from everyone, I should think. And I imagine we should see everyone pit this time. Nope, scrap that. So as these wet conditions, you can go a bit longer on certain sets of tyres. Cott's got clean air in front of him now. So Cott then, with the open road in front of him, is really giving it the beans as he goes through Sector 1. End of the first sector, improved by half a second here. The rain was on the verge of stopping as of right now, so nothing in terms of any more loss of grip compared to how it was. So we'll see if Cott improves then, leaving turn 13, end of the second sector now. Up by 3/4 of a second. Would be enough right now to get him back onto... Actually, it might be enough to get himself onto the front row. But I should imagine we'll see cars improving behind him. Last corners, up towards the line. Complete a second lap here. Cott towards the line, goes faster. I think yes he does. 1:22.2. Damn faster. 1:22.1. Next is Pope. 1:22.0. Grumio there, finding his feet at last. 1:21.8 for Grumio, and the reigning champion puts it on provisional pole there. So Grumio then back on top. Webbsy and JB both in the pits now. So under 5 minutes left to go now in qualifying. So both Saubers there in Q3. Oh, so we see Brashman sliding in, only just saving the car there after running wide out of turn 9 and finding the gravel trap there, leaving the corner. But it's been a solid season so far for Sauber in terms of these quality performances. They've been regular Q3 contenders. HP Cook's been up there. He sits in P11 as it stands right now in the Drivers' Championship. He's got 12 points to his name for the season. So that's 12 of of Sauber's 20. There's another 18 points to Alpine in front of Sauber in P5, P6. My numbers are all out of place this evening. But everyone now returning to the pit lane here. And we should see one last run, I think, from everyone. So last car coming in will be HP Cook. So everyone in the pit lane here, and quick adjustments for getting back out there for the final laps of Q3. You need to give a bit more time in this occasion, given the fact that we'll be looking at a longer lap as a whole. Not by a huge amount, but by enough to perhaps limit how much time you've got to actually make any changes. Through to the last 3 minutes here. You're going to need about a minute and a half or so, I'd say, to minimum to get yourself back on the racetrack again. To come around for that out lap. And of course, if there are cars around you, which there likely will be, we've seen the track before in Q3, you'll want to find yourself a bit of space. But pressure's on now. Grumio rules the roost on 121.8. Landlord P2, 121.9. Pope, 122.0. So it's all quite close right now. Top 5 separates by about 5-6 tenths as it stands, which is ridiculously good. But 2 minutes left now, and the last lap's about to get underway, I should think. And there goes Grumio emerging. See one of the McLarens, one of the Saubers, the other Williams there of JB. So 4 cars, make that 5 cars come back out now, make that 6, here comes Landlord. Everyone on the way back out there for one final run. I wonder if Landlord could be a bit of trouble here, because it's a bit late. Because he's got to get himself to the end of the pit lane here. So get those tyres warmed up. I think the rain has stopped here. No rain on the circuit. The track's still wet, but no fresh water. So this could be an entertaining end to Q3. And to see who gets pole. So everyone then on that lap, one more lap to go. HP Cook is the last car on the train. I think that whether these 3 cars behind Landlord will have time to set times. Grumio should do. There's 40 seconds left. Plenty of time to get back around for these guys. We'll see if anyone doesn't make it. We can look at either Dan, who's been fantastic so far, or HP Cook has been equally good given the machinery he's driving. So Grumio then backing everyone up and looking to get himself as much breakaway as possible. But maybe potentially give the cars behind the tow. 20 seconds here. I think Grumio's leaving it as late as he can. And that may catch out a fair few drivers here. We've got 10 seconds left. About 6 cars, I think, will make it. Landlord down, Max, check it flags out. Pope, Dan, HP Cook, all missing out. So Pope in P3, Dan P4, HP Cook P9. And Brashman right there on Grumio's tail. How much Grumio is improving by. Landlord making a move here on the inside of the Alpine there. The Alpine of Cott is in P5 himself. But Brashman improved by a fair bit. He's right on Grumio's tail here as he goes through into turn 12. I mean, this could be a good lap here from Brashman, potentially. 3.3 second improvement now. Again, can't see Grumio's gain. But it's going to be a 10 cents qualifying. Because Brashman stayed with Grumio. We could get some quite fast times. He's kept the session off. Checker Flag is waiting for them as they go into turn 17. And Brashman right on Grumio's tail here. Who will get pole? Good exit of Brashman. Brashman and JB fastest. JB and Brash on soft tyres. Who got it there? Because I saw another name flash up. Brash and JB both got fast laps in. 3 cars on soft tyres. Who was at pole? Landor gets himself on pole. JB for second. Brashman for third. What a top 3 that is. And that soft tyre change went completely unnoticed by myself, so apologies for that. But front row start for JB. How about that? Grumio fourth in the end. ATP 5. Cott, Websy, Pope, Dan, and HB Cook round your top 10 out. And this could be a very exciting race. Cars up front that aren't normally up front. Emery from the back of the order. We have a number of stories to watch in this Grand Prix. Keep an eye out. The Grand Prix will be on the way in a few minutes' time. Don't go anywhere. So here we go, the moments away from the start here at Imola. It should be a very, very exciting Grand Prix. If you just missed qualifying, I feel bad for you because what an ending to things here. And a number of stories to follow over the course of this Grand Prix. It should be a very, very entertaining race. Have a look here at your circuit. 9 around the Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari, otherwise known in better circles as Imola. And yeah, historic circuit on the calendar. Looking forward to getting this one underway. It should be a fantastic encounter as always. So away on the formation, up we go then. about to get underway for the 7th race of the season. We'll have a look at your full starting grid from the back of the grid. So it's Emery starting by himself in P19. Quality ban for the Rebel driver last week, looking to recover with a good drive this week for to Monaco next time out. Courtney Goblin lands at P18 for Mercedes. Medium tyres on that car. Medium tyres for everyone except for Websy on the start. Alba disqualified from the formation lap, starts from P17 on the grid. PJ P16 there looking for some more points for Aston Martin. 6 points to his teammates, 5 so far this season. Ben returning here to RDL, from my memory, for his first start in quite a while. He lands at P15 after missing out on Q2 after crashing. Ethan P14 to try and beat his teammate, get some more points for Aston. 11 points from so far this season. EJ P13, again, same thing. Of course, home race for him and Curtis at Ferrari. So some more points here. Card Carrot lands at P12. Narrowly missed out on Q3 in the end. Medium tyres for him too. Curtis P11. And looking to break into the top 10 in the championship with some good points today. He's currently got to try and beat JB, HB Cook and Websy to get those spots up in his favour. HB Cook himself, again, 2 points back from Websy in the standings as it stands for Sauber. Dan P9, tough into qualifying from, same with Pope. Those 3 guys all missed out on laps late on. Websy P7, the lone hard tyre starter in this race. Cotton P6, missed out on pole in the end. AT P5, good qualifying from McLaren. Grumio P4, and the top 3 going quite unprecedentedly. Brashman, the reserve in place for Sauber tonight. JB on the front row for the first time in what feels like forever. And Landlord starts on pole with a very realistic chance here at his first win of the season. His first since Austria last season. So the last moments here for the race gets underway. 32 laps. It should be a fantastic encounter. Imri there, dead last. What can he do from the rear of the field? Can he get some points on the board for Red Bull in his teammate Matthew's absence? Get his tyres into place in the last little bits. He's into position there. Landlord and JB on your front row. Here come the lights then for round 7 of the season here at Imola. Lights out, foot to the floor. We are racing here in Italy. Good start from Landlord. Jumps up in front of JB. Brashman trying there in second place. 3 wide for second going towards turn 1. Grumio is there on the outside going to try and make a move towards Tamburello. Yellow flag in the back, and that is Alvo's not moving. Let's go into the first corner. Contact by the back. Car in the gravel. There's several cars in the gravel. Grumio then got into that. Down the order goes Grumio by a place or 2. Alvo disqualified. Tough start there for RB. We saw cars go through the gravel. HB Cook's got damage. There we go then. Number of cars there involved in scraps and altercations early on. Emery boxed in there. Card Carrots back to the rear of the field too, so down the order there for the Red Bull Reserve. So Landlord leads from Brashman and JB. What a start for Brashman. Grumio, who almost had a chance on the outside going through towards turn 2, but couldn't quite pull it off. Zoo Alpines now P5, P6. Websy and Cott, AT P7, Pope P8. You see, I thought I saw that's Pope challenging for a second to go into turn 14. Couldn't quite do it on AT. Stays in line for now in 8. HB Cook 9th. Dan rounds at your top 10. 2 Ferraris for company behind him. Of course, the car he won this race in last season. But Landlord then heavy advantage. 1.3 seconds to the good over the reserve Brashman going towards turn 1. DRS now in play for the first time this afternoon. And JB on Brashman's tail. It's like a fair few seasons. The last time JB stood on an RDL podium, could today be that day? If you look at it, I believe, at the opening race of season 17, so over 2 seasons since then. Yellow flag in the first sector. That's Connie Goblin's got off the circuit. Down, going through to the Tamburello chicane. Recovers the car. Only gravel on the tyres here. Doesn't look like any wing damage. He's all good for now. He'll carry on. Albeit 4.7 seconds back. Imrin's P15 here, making early moves. So up. Currently up 4 places as it stands. Ben is next target in P14 there. Have a look at your position change from the Grand Prix so far. I'll get myself on the right detail. There we go. So Imri then the biggest gainer so far from this start. Card Carrot down 5 places his teammates, so the biggest dropper so far in this Grand Prix. And Brashman could be under a world of pressure here from 2 full-time drivers. The 2 Williams drivers, perhaps one of the most, if not the most experienced pairing on the grid. The perfect blend of race starts and race victories in JB and Grumio as they round turn 17 here. And we could see that move being made sooner rather than later if JB gets a good exit, leaving turn 18 here. DRS will be in play, going onto the main straight to begin lap 3. Landor fastest here. He's away at Canter, 1.6 seconds to the good. As Brashman, now Grumio going for a move here. Grumio goes blasting past his teammate, going 1 for 2, taking 2 for 1 there, going in towards into the first proper corner on the circuit. Move Grumio into your second spot. He'll get to work now chasing down the race leader. Landlord, his former teammate, as JB now challenges. Double whammy there for Brashman, going into turn 5, apologies, and down to 4th place. But JB maintains a spot on the podium here early on. Long way to go though. You see AT taking a slightly wild line through Tosa there, trying to hold off the advances of one Touch Me Pope, who won this race back in season 17, around a calendar year ago. Evidently starts the pace. Of course, he's completed 3 starts for this season. He's won 1 of them. I think it'd be a tough ask to win where he is today. Tough break for Alvar. Obviously out of the Grand Prix, disqualified. And I'm being told that his screen turned off before the formation lap and he got it back more or less as the lights went out. So unfortunate for Alvar, but hopefully we'll see him back next week. Grumio has really started pushing his former teammate to the limit there. 1:17.2. Having a look at the fastest laps here. Grumio fastest by a whole second there to Landlord on that last lap. What has Grumio had for breakfast this morning? Whatever it is doing a world of good right now, because he's found himself on the tail of his former championship rival as Carrot slow, leaving turn 18 here. And struggling so far in that other Red Bull. Emery still in P15 as of right now. JB currently still keeping a train at bay here. Leads Brashman, Websy, Cott, 80 bit further back, HB Cook in P8. Dan 9th, Pope now 10th, so Pope's become off worse. I think down through that DRS zone, going down towards Tamburello. But the 2 leaders are pulling away here. It's the same sort of stories we saw last week, except in this case, it is now Landlord taking the role of the race leader, trying to hold off Grumio, and hold off the irresistible force, the charge of this Williams car as he emerges from turn 15 on the tail of that McLaren. And this will be vintage RDL. See these 2 great rivals, these 2 fantastic drivers go wheel to wheel once again for the first time in a long time in opposite cars. Whereas for a long time they were teammates, they're now adversaries once again on the racetrack, and Grumio will have DRS to his benefit here. You saw the run he got last time on JB. This could be the same thing again, going towards Tamburello onto that 5 now, and Landlord's sitting in the lead is short-lived. Grumio takes P1 away from his teammate, and Brashman gets around JB, caught passing Websy. It's all going on behind, going in towards Tamburello for the 5th time. Dan and HB Cook side by side. HB Cook falls away. Pope is there in P10, can't pick anything up. Curtis P11 behind these guys. And Brashman, 3-second penalty there. That'll make things a lot tougher for him, given the train he's holding at bay right now. Let's go up towards turns 8 and 9. Going to be difficult then for Brashman to try and hold everyone at bay with that penalty. But speaking of holding at bay, Landlord did nothing of the sort there, and Grumio is already almost a second clear. As it stands right now, he's about 7 tenths, 8 tenths in front as we begin the last sector on the circuit. But Landlord's still in DRS range here as we come out the last few corners. And we'll see this train go at it again, I should think. How much does Landor gain here by comparison to what Grumio gained last time out? It must be something with the setup in Grumio's car, because that thing is a monster on these main straights. I think JB will probably likely get Brashman back here. He's going side by side with the Sauber. There goes Cott to the outside there, into the grass, 3 wide, going towards the chicane. This might not work. Brashman backs out. Contact. There goes JB around. And JB down the order then, and the dream of what could have been running the podium places seems to be short-lived. JB then down in 16th. And Cott takes 3rd place away. Brashman to 4th. Websy 5th. And everyone scrabbling here is Dan, Pope, and AT 3 wide there into Tosa. That's not meant to work. Contact between AT and Pope. Dan takes full advantage. Goes siding through P7. And AT the big loser there. As Pope comes out in P8. Dan in P7. everyone getting in the spirit here, getting quite racy as we make our way into the second sector once again. But JB there, tough break for him. But it's not over yet. There's still plenty of time left to come in this Grand Prix. And we'll see what pace is like from over the next few laps as he tries to recover from that incident. As Landlord still keeps himself in DRS range, Grumio. So Landlord is still definitely on Grumio's level without doubt. But there's something in terms of the straight line speed in that Williams that is absolutely monstrous. Websy making a charge now, Brushman going towards turn 2. Missing end plate in that Sauber. Keep an eye out for that. Is it the same case on HP Cook's car as well? Might be, but Dan's closing in. I think he wants to pass him first and ask that question later to go into Villeneuve here. It's going to be very tight between these two drivers. Yes, there is an end plate missing around Dan's car. Around goes Dan. And off into the barrier there. Front wing gone. And the second front runner in 2 laps going down the order. Move Dan down to the 16th spot now himself. As he recovers things and gets himself moving once again here. But a tough break for Dan. And that'll again split things up here. As Cott has now been given free rein to try and chase down the 2 race leaders, which he is doing. And Landlock getting awfully close to Grumio this time around too. The closest he's been the last 2.5 laps or so as they come into turn 18. And on to lap 8 of this Grand Prix, nearing the end of the first quarter of this Grand Prix. A lot has happened so far. Landlock with a good run here. No battery being used, but getting a good attack on Grumio. And Landlord reclaims the lead going towards turn 1. Behind them here, it's going to make it off once again. The train is broken up a little bit here as we go down towards Tamburello for the 8th time. And no moves being made as it stands right now. Websy is holding the train at bay while his teammate goes on to try and challenge the 2 race leaders. He's still 6.3 behind as Dan comes in here for a pit stop. And up the order here, there's really no challenge for anyone right now, but Grumio is round Landlord's tail here. Won't go for moving to turn 9. I should think he was trying to keep himself in range for DRS, just trying to avoid. Oh, as the gravel there goes Grumio on corner exit. And he's still within that 1 second gap that he needs, but tough there for the reigning champion. As you see Dan making his change now onto a fresh set of hard or medium tyres. How about Imri there up to P11 in the order? Making moves. He's got Curtis next in his sights, next on his hit list as we head towards the chicane once again. And Curtis sliding there, I think struggling perhaps for grip. These medium tyres wear out a lot faster than they have done in previous games. So something to keep an eye out for the course of the evening as EJ and Ben go side by side. And Ben making the pass into 12th place as they go down the hill. And down the main straight again. Grumio reclaims the top spot from Landlord again. DRS in play for HP Cook, making the pass to his teammate nice and easy. Pope might try and follow suit. He will follow suit. 2 places down then for Brashman. And Pope trying to take advantage of both cars here. Contact through the Tamburello chicane. Pope is still there. Oh, around goes Pope. Contact there, and he gets hit by AT as well. And everyone's scrambling to avoid that car. Pope saves it. Keeps himself moving. No wing damage done to that car in terms of any loss of end plates. Pope down to P13, another instant in this first sector. I think Ethan may got caught for illegal overtaking there. He backed off very easily compared to Pope. Well, it's all going upside down this Grand Prix. Car Carrot finds himself in the gravel, leaving turn 4. JB onto set hard tyres here. It's the 2 cars involved in incidents themselves who have found us to stand the order themselves, emerging from the pit lane here, having made stops. And Grumio here, whereas last week he managed to pull away from Che quite easily on a fresh set of tyres. He's struggling to do the same thing against Landlord now. Whether Grumio does pull an advantage in the second stint, as remains to be seen, but Landlord, though, is working his tail off to keep in this thing. Imri into P7 now, taking full advantage of pitting in now. So looking at first stops this Grand Prix for a few cars. Imri and Ben. Whether these are routine stops, not sure. We'll see if there's a wing change tool. No wing change, it's just medium tyres going on to. I think we're looking at a 2-stop here over the course of this race. And whether we see perhaps a set of soft tyres being used or a set of hard tyres later on, 2 more aggressive first stints, and then a set of hard tyres to finish things off. It could really go anyone's way. Ethan thinks it's the second penalty of the evening. 3 seconds, multiple warnings. Same as Brashman. So those penalties can't be served in the pit lane. Fastest lap for Dan there on those medium tyres. The train is still somewhat together. It's being led by the two Saubers now, but the Sauber's breaking away. Curtis has now got AT, Pope, EJ, and Ethan in the tail, with PJ in P12 there. Cotley Goblin by himself, P13. Imri then 5 seconds back from the Mercedes in P14. Ben, Card Carrot, JB, and Dan have also all made stops. The bottom 5 in the current running order have all made their pit stops so far in this race. So don't scrap that. I thought Card Carrot stopped. He has not. Card Carrot stays still on the circuit on those same medium tyres. He's been on those for the first 9 laps of this Grand Prix. Grumio and Landlord on Grumio's tail. Websy making the pass on Cop pitting here. So first stop for Alpine. Websy, of course, the lone starter on those hard tyres. So we'll see how long he runs on those. Perhaps looking for a one-stop if he can get one in. And whether Cott's trying to do the same thing. So he's going to have to make those hard last 21 laps. Change being made. We're seeing a few more cars get hard tyres. HB pitting. Wing change going onto that car. Brashman's staying out for now. And obviously he's got end plate damage as well. He's got end plate damage, but not end plate damage. EJ took advantage here. PJ going wide there through Villeneuve. Tries the outside in front of Tifosi, waiting for him on corner exit. And what a pass this will be if EJ clears it. Yes, there he goes into P7. Good pass there. 3 seconds though, penalty for EJ2. As both cars seem to be struggling for grip here as PJ finds the gravel as Grumio did a few laps ago. Grumio though leading the way now. 6 tenths to the good over Landlord. Websy still in P3. Brashben P4. AT P5. Pope in P6. And Imri there, P10 now. 12 laps into the thing. There's still 20 laps to go. So time for things to change still. And he's on fresh tyres. Everyone else in front of him yet to pit. In terms of the gap to the leader, we're looking at 37 seconds from P10 to P1 right now. And Landlord still, even with DRS, is having a hard time getting around Grumio's. Pope comes to the pit lane now. His first stop of the Grand Prix. I think we should see medium tyres, perhaps set hard tyres onto his car as well. So the majority of the field have now started to make stops. We have entered that pit window at this stage. And just 9 cars yet to pit. So half the field's still running. They haven't stopped yet. Pope will rejoin here in P14. And works to get himself back up the order here, but we'll see what Pope's sheer pace comes to the floor now. JB, 3 second penalty for him. He's the 4th driver to get one. And at what point do we see one of the two leaders come into the pit lane? We'll have to wait and see. As they emerge from corner number 18, Grumio stays out, Landlord stays out. So no change there. Landlord though keeping his ERS close to his chest here, but still keeping up with Grumio thanks to DRS in that main straight. The lone DRS zone in this circuit. And Grumio using a bit more of his, but still keeping himself a fair surplus. We've seen Grumio's tactic often with ERS to sort of save a lot towards the end of the Grand Prix and sort of go on a late charge as you do. But whether Landlord has to do much harvesting there, if this is the same situation in about, let's say, another 13, 14, 15 laps time, and we'll be looking at the last sort of 5 laps or so with these two, they're still fighting for the leaders they have done for the first half of this Grand Prix so far. HB Cook there in P14. Making a pass, I believe, on Cotley Goblin. He's closing himself. Go down towards Tamburello. Won't go for it though. Not worth a move to the inside from here. Pope P13 there. And so far, it's just been a case of who can steer through the chaos. He's got a car around. It's Cotley Goblin and Pope's teammate into the gravel. They're leaving Villeneuve chicane. They rejoin dead last to the running cars. P18. Coming behind Card Carrot. As Landlord pits then, so the 2 leaders making their changes. Or at least one of the 2 leaders. Landlord is in. What tyre does he go on to? Hard tyre going on. So Landlord goes to the end of those tyres. I should think Grumio will do the same. Websy into P2 now. Brashman staying on the circuit. 80 coming in. So double pit stop from McLaren. No risk of a real double stack. Enough distance between these two guys to get the McLaren team in and out. Making that wing change there for AT2. Wing change is complete. He's away. Brashman's second penalty there. And struggling here in terms of those track limits. We're not even halfway through the race yet. I dare say the stewards are going to have a fun time, I should think, with the chaos we've seen in the first 14.5 laps of this Grand Prix so far, as Grumio continues to show the way. Whether we see him try and go longer on these medium tyres, or like a lot longer than Landlord did, we have to wait and see. Or whether we see him come in this time. Looks like he's coming in. Yes, he is. So change we made then for the race leader. And we'll see where Landlord emerges. Landlord just managed to clear EJ for P5. The gap there, about 26 seconds as it stands right now. Grumio into his pit box now. It's going to be close, but I dare say I could see Landlord emerging first here. It's going to be tight. Cott fastest lap. Cott still on the circuit on his hard tyres, and he takes the lead of the race. He takes the lead of the race away. EJ penalty, speed in the pits. Landlord's close to Grumio now. And both cars up to full song. And Landlord jumping Grumio in the pit lane there. But Cott, who I believe has made his first stop, hasn't he? Yes, he has. So Cott has jumped these guys in the pit lane then. Well, that's worked out quite nicely then for Alpine. As Websy on the hard tyres continues now to show the way. But Cott has brought himself right into this fight now. And not just in front of this, not just into this fight, he's brought himself out in front of it too. By a good 3 or 4 seconds to Landlord. So these two, the old guard, the champions of the league, have to get their skates on now to try and run Cott down. When does Websy stop? Well, Websy can go a lot longer into this race, keep in mind, thanks to the fact that he's on these hard tyres. And we'll likely see him pushing on mediums towards the end. But will he change his end plate too? Because that may cost him time-wise. Imri's in P5 now, just 5 seconds off of Grumio and Landlord. But of course, likely we'll need to make another pit stop. Rather we'll need to make another pit stop because he's been on 2 sets of medium tyres. So whether we see him change perhaps onto a set of hard tyres or a set of softs later on, it could be either one of those two realistically. Grumio getting back to work though, wasting no time, making the pass on Landlord nice and easy into 3rd place. And something tells me that Grumio will try and sort of get rid of Landlord from his mirrors and start working on chasing down Cott. He's 3.5 behind right now. What will Cott do to try and attack? HB MP9, who has to pass Ben. Dan and JB fighting back here for those instants earlier on. P11, P12 are running on right now. Both around 4 or 5 seconds back from the points playing place with Ben in 10th place. ATP 13, of course, he's had that wing change, so cost him the pit lane. Brashman P14 now, so things haven't gone too well for him in terms of this first stint. And he's also missing an end plate. EJ though with another penalty. He's got 16 seconds now. Yes, he does. Got 10 seconds of speeding the pit lane, and likely won't stop again. So tough day for at least one of the Ferraris. Curtis is in P8 right now. Did a remarkable job there. Bring some points to Tifosi. Grumio, I think, went wide there going into turn 17. But he's 2.6 back from Cott now. And I don't know what it is about that Williams. As Grumio goes fastest lap once again. Of course, no points on board for it other than sheer pace. But Cott and Grumio, the only 2 cars to put in a 116 at some point during this Grand Prix. Lados managed to get around Grumio now. And that will make Grumio's task a bit harder now. It's looking more and more likely at this point that he's the one who's going to have the chance to chase down Cott for the win. You saw how much he gained, how much the pair of them gained when he was the car in front. Honestly, Landlord may be better off doing what he was doing in the first instance, sort of running in Grumio's, in his toe and let himself be pulled along because it's working for him. But they're saying that they actually both start to close in now on Cott in the net race lead. Websy 3.4 in front. His lead is shrinking here as Card Carrot gets hit with the penalty himself. So Landlord from Grimmy, they're now 2 seconds back from Cott. So they're getting closer and closer here. And things could get very, very interesting in the second half of this Grand Prix. When will Websy pit? Let's go another lap longer at least. It may do for Websy to let Cott go and perhaps look into trying to hold up the 2 cars behind him. As Imrie comes into the pit lane now, second stop for the Red Bull driver. And we'll see him likely onto a set of hard tyres here, I should think. Yes, we will. So how will the 2-stop work then for Imrie? Remember, he starts at P19, so any place he gains is a positive run for this Grand Prix. Let's see, we have another version of the Grumio Landlord scrap here between the sister cars from both teams, AT and JB there. And in both cases, in this fight, it's McLaren leading Williams. So of course, Williams lead everyone in the constructors by just 2 points coming into today. But that lead may take a bit of a stretch today, given the lack of Che and Dan down the order out to the points. Of course, they just made his pit stop though. Websy has now been caught by Cott, who will get DRS, I think, off his teammate now. But Websy can't hold Cott up too much now. To the inside, there goes Cott. Then goes blasting past Landlord again. The 2 Alpines there, leading 1-2. Cott in a net race lead, and now it's up to Websy to keep these guys behind as much as he can. And he's doing his job there. Backing off though, going into Villeneuve. Grimio's had him, and now Grimio 1.3 behind. Landlord darting to the inside, can't make a move. But clearing Websy, leaving turn 7, so defense is not... If that was the game plan, I wouldn't say it's gone to plan. Websy now behind these guys, although realistically these guys aren't his race, but maybe to help to his teammate. So Cott only is that DRS range right now from Grumio, and not particularly safe. We're going to have 13 laps to go when we come to the line. Both cars now in DRS range. It's looking like a 3-car scrap for the race win here. 3 cars between 3 different teams. Alpine still gunning for their first win of the campaign. 38 points between both cars this season. Of which Cott has scored 24. He could double his tally with the win today, but needs to keep these guys at bay or just keep with them. On to lap 20. Grumio wasting no time, makes his move to the outside. Websy pits. As Grumio reclaims top spot. Pope into P4. Yellow flag. And that's one of the Aston Martins has got problems of some kind. As car carries Imrie and PJ, they have that coming together of some kind. Both cars recover it. Not quite sure what happened in there. No wing damage on either car. Whether it was just a nudge, not too sure. Websy will emerge then in P15, I should think. No, sorry, he's emerging P14. I'm looking at the wrong car. So he's now on fresh medium tyres. What can he do with those? Can he get himself up towards the front? And look at your top 10 here. It's all over the shop. Yellow flag again. Card Carrot. Finding the grass on corner exit, leaving turn 18. So Grimio leads Cott now. Landlord in 3rd place. These are your 3 cars fighting for the win. There's 12 laps to go. And we'll see what sort of run Cott gets with DRS. And same as Landlord here. Not closing the gap too much, but keeping himself in range. Needs to be a lot faster in other parts of the circuit. How much straight line speed are these guys giving up in favour of having a more all-round car to gain time across the circuit? Because Cott is there in the corners. Ethan pitting here from P5. So it's Ben coming in too. JB back in the point to EJ makes the pass for P9. And Grimmy now trying to bolt up front. Everyone now relatively spaced out, save for Ethan and Dan. Dan with a 3-second penalty there. Tough breaks for a number of cars in this order today. I think Lando might be at DRS range here potentially of Cott. We'll see what it looks like when he comes around to the line. Yes, he is. No DRS for Lando, but DRS for Cott. On to lap 22. And really not getting a ton there. And I wonder, we may emerge next lap and we could see Grimmy out of DRS range. Saying that, Cott has a fantastic run in the first sector there. Look how much time he gains. Curtis making passes here. Hasteby cooking to the pit lane. Second stop then for the Sauber driver. Could we see mediums or perhaps even softs here later on. Another set of hard tires to be on that car. I'll drop him out the points. I'll drop JB back into P10 now. Webb's into P9. It's looking like good points here for Ferrari. Curtis is in P5 as it stands right now. And he's still best of the rest here. Pope is by himself in 4th place. And there is Grimmy pulling away here as he did last week in Miami. And Lando now right on Cott's tail as Cott comes to the pit lane here. Oh, a slide there. I thought for a second he was going to slide off into the barrier, but no such thing. A late change for Cott then. What's going on here? Is there damage to that car? No damage. It's a change to medium tyres. Pope into 3rd place now. This is a risk he's taken. So Cott re-emerges then in P4, 27.4 seconds back from the 2 race leaders. How close can Cott get again? Yellow flag is out. That's Carl Carrot, I think, letting lapped cars go here. We'll be on the verge of letting lap cars go, because Grimmy is catching them here. Brashman, another penalty from him. That's 9 seconds. No, that's 12 seconds from him now. 16 for EJ. And these two had tough afternoons here at Imola. Grimmy gets around Courtney Goblin. And we'll get DRS off of Carl Carrot. Watch Cott here. We'll see how much Cott gains. I can see himself getting back on the podium. I can't see him winning the race. You never know. Courtney Goblin gets a penalty there. Carl Carrot into the pit lane. Medium tyres in that car. He's away. Rashman still going there with that bit of end plate damage. Whether it's a different bit of damage, I'm not too sure. So on lap 24 of this thing, then Grimio is out by 2.7 seconds to Lando, starting to pull away, as we saw him do last week. Pope is there in P3. Cott is now 11 seconds back from Pope. Yellow flag. That's again Carl Carrot. Oh, around he goes. And, narrowly getting himself out of the way in time. Can't move yet. I wouldn't recommend that. And narrowly getting himself turned around in time. And that could have potentially been a safety car inducing incident had that gone poorly. 10 seconds for Courtney Goblin for ignoring a blue flag. He's tail end of the field right now, so it should have an impact on his final position. Carl Carrot so far so far away from him, about almost a minute back. Cott fastest lap. Pope pitting here. Medium tyres on Pope too. So it's 21 seconds from Cot to Landlord. $18 out to 4th place. His aim here over the last 8 laps is to try and keep Pope at bay. Should Pope catch him? A number of cars here in position now. Websy holding off Brashman right now. EJ behind him. Pope is gunning for them both. So we're starting to see these medium tyre runners start to try and reel in the cars in front and hard to have gone for the one stop. I think once again, as has been the case this season, the one stop is tending to win, short of everyone doing a two stop. Only circumstances in which the two stop was won. Unless we get a late safety car change things. This looks like Grimio's 6th win from 7. It's been remarkable dominance so far this season. Of course, we head to Monaco next week, a circuit that Grimio has won several times at in the last few seasons. The Alpine Masterclass was on the table at one stage. Those guys have found themselves P3 and P5. Still good points. They're still a full 25 points for the championship. And that may move them perhaps in front of Mercedes now with Pope down in P7. Pope makes the pass on EJ there. And Cott's closing. He's 19 seconds back now, but he's not going to close in time, I don't think. He needs to be gaining about 3 seconds a lap or so to stand any chance. But Pope navigating his way back seems to be a lot stronger on the medium tyre. He focuses on Rashman now right in front of him. And moving to the inside of the Sauber. With that broken end plate going towards turn 9. Pope should outbrake him there. Yes, he does. The season 11 champion up into P6. And Webbsy also on those medium tyres too. JB gets a penalty there. 3 seconds, multiple warnings. That will put him on to 6 seconds. The second penalty of the night. Henry and Dan almost nose to tail here. We're behind Ethan. Two drivers that used to be fighting up front with Landlord Grimio. Grimio pulling away here. He's going to have 5 laps left when he next crosses the line. He's going down turn 7 now. Yes, I think he is. Yes, he is. There he is. But further up front, we see a number of cars here, all in DRS range. Imri, this could be a move for Imri here, going up towards Tamburello with a good enough run. Dan gets DRS too, so both cars could find themselves in play. Come out of turn 4. Imri closing, but not enough. Ethan using overtake to keep himself in front. HB Cook passing PJ Khaled. P12 on the line with those two cars. Romeo starts lap 28. 5 more laps left. And 4.9 seconds in front, almost 5 seconds in front. Cott is 16.3 behind Landlord. And again, someone just catch Landlord have a chance. He needs to be getting about 3 or 4 seconds each lap. Which I don't think he's doing right now. Pope, though, is working on AT, who, of course, passed him while he was in the pit lane. And looking for those 12 points. JB penalty there. It's his 3rd penalty of the evening. Yellow flag, and that is a stopped car. Card carrot around. Oh! And that was tough there. That could have been very, very costly as Card carrot rejoins at the crest of Akman Rally where JB came flying through and had to take to the grass. Dan passes Imri. So those guys fighting for points here, but Dan with that penalty though. So Imri can sit where he is and know he can get some points out of this. And he may find himself at perhaps as high as P7 if he's close enough. And he's close enough without doubt. So Imri could find himself still bringing home 6 points in this race. But I'm sure he'd like to try and get himself up the order himself. Card carrot pitting. And that'll be it for him. So second retiree as Pope making the pass on AT there into the chicane. Cott penalty there. 3 seconds, and that'll do any chance he's got, any fleeting chance he's got of a second place finish, I should think. And I don't think Pope's capable of closing him down with 4 laps left to go. But you never know. What has Pope got? He needs to close 4 seconds per lap. Same sort of thing. 18 now P5. Webbsy now P6. Brashman and EJ going at it. DRS in play for EJ. Going towards Tamburello. Stays in line. Perhaps trying to force Brashman into another error. EJ as it stands, I mean, is currently 4 seconds with 4 seconds more penalty than Brashman's got. So as it stands, we'll be finishing behind these guys regardless. And I should think we'll be finishing outside of the points, the pair of them. It's Brashman with 4 track limits penalties, EJ with 2, plus the 10 seconds of speed in the pits. Ethan now around Imrie. Or rather, Dan has passed Ethan. Imrie in tow here. All 4 of these guys are just waiting for the opportunity to pass. We're on lap 30 now this Grand Prix. Grumio is 2.5 laps from victory number 6 of the season. And you do wonder who will be able to stop him over the course of the campaign. We're nearing the halfway stage. We're a quarter of the way through the season. We just passed that last week in Miami. And he's already won. He's already guaranteed to have won at least a quarter of races this campaign. So Grumio here likely will expand his lead in the standings. Dan passing Brashman now for 8th place. EJ's next car in front. Which will put cars between him and Imrie. He needs time on that front yellow flag. That's one of the Alpines around, and that is Webbsy down the order. Webbsy spins out and falls outside of the points. Late on then, Webbsy down to P12, and a costly error that will drop Alpine a fair few points in the standings. Well, just over 2 laps to go for Webbsy. Tough break for him. He's now got Kirsten on his tail. Imrie passing Brashman there. That does nothing for the cars around him to disrupt them. EJ right now P6 on track. So Grumio then dominating. Lap and a half from victory now. Webbsy penalty for corner cutting. Dan right behind EJ now. A bit of clean air. Might just try and advance on Imrie if he can. I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. Making the pass there. Okay, he's now got 2 laps to try and bolt and put as much time on the Red Bull as he can. Try and get himself P6. Grumio then rounds turn 18. 1 more lap to go. Brashman, another penalty for him there. The bell lap starts. Landl in 2nd place and still looking at another podium this season, but it won't be enough on a day that it would look like you might have the pace to try and challenge Grumio across the course of the Grand Prix. Again, 2nd stint as it was last week. Grumio shows his stuff once again. Caught in 3rd place, but Pope is right in his... So no, that's not Pope, that's Scotty Goblin, who I thought was Pope for 2nd on Cott's tail, but not to be. Cott set for 3rd then, which is definitely a fantastic result for him, given the... well, if I get my stats up, he's gained 3 places, and for a second was in the lead with a good chance to win this thing, but again, made the chance for a 2-stop, didn't pay off for him, didn't gain as much time back, but has got himself onto the podium. Pope in P4 trying the same thing, couldn't quite work out from ATP5. Dan is still in P6. Imrie still stuck in P9 right now as he starts the last lap. Dan in front of him. HP Cook passing Brashman there, so it's 1 point going Sauber's way then. But Grumio then is just 4 corners now from victory. Win number 6 coming the way of the reigning champion, looking as dominant as ever on the quest for his 10th Racers Driving League Championship. He rounds turn 18 and goes towards turn 19 for the final time, weaving in celebration up towards the flag. It's Salve Grumio. Once again, 6 wins from 7. He wins the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Landlord will take home second place. A valiant effort against his former teammate and rival. Landlord second. Cott will take the flag in third place. Websy crosses the line before his teammate does, down in P16 there, a lap behind on soft tyres. Cott in third place. Good podium for him and Alpine. Gets themselves off. Probably get themselves up and running. That will help him jump a few places over drivers such as Matthew and AT. Pope into P4, then another fantastic performance on his return to the league. AT P5. Again, pace is there for McLaren today. Those guys are going to get a good few points on Haas in the standings. Dan in P6, but may lose a spot to Imri at the end. Oh, you might not say that. I mean, Imri's fallen back a little bit here. Can be quite close. Ow, and Imri misses out then on P6 by a second. Imri P7, Ethan P8, HB Cook P9, and Curtis takes home the last point in your top 10 thanks to EJ's penalty. Ben in P11. Ben also, I don't see a number of cars. Oh, sorry, Grumio's left it, so it has been DNF'd, but we'll saw, obviously, Grumio won the race. Unfortunate game bug there as JB crosses in P15. Tough day to swallow for JB. And just one more race at Imola before it goes off the RDL circuit, off the RDL calendar. But Grumio then win number 6 from 7. Landlord being given the win on screen because Grumio left the session, but caught in third place. Pope takes 4th in the end. So there it is then. Grumio wins it from Landlord, Cott, Pope, AT, your top 5. Then it's Dan, Imri, Ethan, HB Cook, and Curtis get your points today. PJ P11, sorry, Ben P12, EJ P13, Brashman P14, JB P15. And then Websy, Cottony, Carr, Carrot, and Alvar. Tough break for the 2 retirees in this Grand Prix. Tough break for Alvar. Didn't really get a chance to get going in this race. Hopefully we'll see him come back in next week's Grand Prix. Very chaotic race. A lot went on over the course of that thing. It was the one more race around Imola until season 21, in which it will be off the calendar for F1 26. But a long way to go until then. Very, very chaotic Grand Prix, to say the least. But of course, we'll get post-race interviews underway to try and get some glimpse of all the chaos that went down over the course of that Grand Prix. Very, very, very arduous Grand Prix for a fair few drivers. Some drivers who, of course, navigated things better than others did. And we'll see who we can pull for a chat. I'll say, let us know your thoughts in the chat down below after that, because that was, as I say, highly chaotic across the evening. But Grumio then, again, dominant in this case, and I wonder who's got what it takes to try and catch him in the standings. As he increases his lead on, it'll be chased, it may still be Che in second place. Dan, actually, no, Dan, I believe, will take over second place in the Drivers' Championship, unless Landor's not close enough. Landor will likely move up over Emery into 4th place, I should think. But a long race there. Of course, qualifying was equally intense. There was a lot going on over the course of just the whole thing. In reality, it was definitely a challenge for a number of drivers. Pope is here. Pope who finished P4 then in the Grand Prix. Pope, welcome into the stream. How did you find that there? Because that was a very chaotic Grand Prix, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it was, very chaotic. It's a hard track to race at, so I think everyone's going to be involved in a few incidents. I was myself. I did a lovely pirouette. Unfortunately, I think it gave 80 damage, but yeah, it was just bit crazy.
I mean, you'd be happy to know that we did catch the pirouette on stream, so you had to go and watch that one later. Because it was a good save. I mean, I credit you for that. It was fantastic on that. But yeah, I mean, that race was. I think just in general, would you say that race was more chaotic than what we normally see at Imola? Because Imola's normally quite tame for that sort of thing.
I think lap one's always pretty chaotic, but yeah, I think maybe the past few laps, I think with how this game works, like it's a lot of train racing, but you're actually able to overtake in the train this year rather than last year. So I feel like that's probably played dividends. But yeah, it was just absolutely chaotic, and I'm glad that we don't have to race here again for another season.
Fair enough. I mean, it'll be one more race, and then Imola's off the calendar in RDL. I think for the foreseeable future in terms of the contract in real life. I mean, one thing I did want to ask you: you tried we were one of the drivers who did the two stop in this race today, and it obviously almost paid off. You almost managed to catch up to Cott in third place. I mean, I think honestly, would you agree with me when I say that the two stop hasn't been as effective as it was perhaps advertised when the game was first sort of being developed?
I feel, yeah, I think definitely the one stop is still pretty powerful, but like you say, it depends on what tracks. I mean, a lot of people probably thought there was rain in this race 30 minutes in. Unfortunately, we didn't even get any. So for myself and for others who were running a wet setup was probably hindered by that. So we tried the two stop for that reason. However, yeah, I mean, next week is obviously Monaco, so that's a guaranteed two stop. So that's obviously interesting to say the least. We'll see how that plays into it, but I still think the one stop, the medium hard, is just unbelievable.
Of course, looking into Monaco next week, so obviously that's a circuit that you've won at several times in the past, as you love to remind me back in the day. But obviously, a number of drivers who want that one more than any other race on the calendar. So, what's the approach next week? Are we going for another race event around there? Because I mean, you came close last season, and with working wheel, this could be your time again.
I mean, yeah, I always say that, you know, it is kind of just, let's see. I'm very, very good there. Like, it is one of my strongest tracks, but I've not drove it on this year's game at all. I've made sure I stayed away from it because I wanted to just have the clearest run on race week. But yeah, we'll go for a win because why not? It's Monaco.
I have to wait and see if you've still got it in your Pope. But obviously, good job today on the fourth place finish through all the chaos. And we'll come now to Dan, who had his own share of chaos over the course of the Grand Prix. Dan comes home P6 at the flag. Dan, can you hear us, mate? You there?
Yep. Hello.
Well, I mean that was definitely a Celtic Grand Prix, I think, to say the least. In terms of because I think you got caught a bit early on. What happened around sort of lap 6, 7?
Yeah. So I went for a move on HP Cook up to the inside of that second chicane, and he slightly, I think, just hit the curb, slightly jumped over it, pushed me wide onto the gravel, and I just couldn't get any grip, spun out and sort of hit him, then hit the wall. So I got front wing damage and got forced into a race I didn't really want to do. So yeah, quite happy with the damage limitation that I did somehow find. Yeah, just annoyed with the penalties, and yeah, just it should have been so much more today. Like not getting a lap in quali again. It's been my weakness this season. So yeah, just annoying.
Fair enough. Of course, in terms of the Grand Prix itself, you're one of the cars who went for that two stop towards the end of the Grand Prix. Were you satisfied with the outcome of that, or do you think you should have stuck with the one stop?
I got forced into the two stop because I got front wing damage.
Oh yes, right. Yeah, I'm stupid.
So yeah, I was planning on the one stop. I had a really good tire wear. Like I was talking with Brashman and EJ. They were about 5-7% more tires than me. So yeah, I was quite annoyed, but had no answer for the front two. Even if I did manage it, they just blew off at the start anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. They were a class above the rest of the field. In terms of I forgot my question. That is fantastic. Oh yeah, right. So sorry, mate. I asked Pope this a minute ago before you got in here. In terms of Imola, because I mean, obviously Imola, you've won here before, and in terms of instances that sort of thing, Imola has normally been quite tame the last few years. So is there anything in particular you think might change this year?
I think the curbs aren't as aggressive, so people are willing to take a bit more of them. So like people are gonna sort of bump around a little bit more, and it's something that happened with me, unfortunately. But I also think the rear tires, they just get too hot, so you need quite a lot of rear grip around here, and there's a lot of sliding, a lot of uh, just mistakes that are happening. I was sideways quite a bit. Once I went onto the two stop, I was really pushing, and once you get in that cycle of slipping and sliding, it's really hard to cool down the tires and get out of it. So I just think with this new tire model on this new game, it's a little bit trickier for everyone.
Okay. Gotcha. Last question for you. Obviously, Monaco next week, second full-length Grand Prix of the season. What's the target for next week, if not the race win?
A good qualifying lap. That would be quite nice. It's obviously very different because mandatory two-stop we have to remember, and it's 100%. So it's going to be a very, very long race. Yeah, hopefully it goes better than last season where I disconnected, but hopefully that's already happened with Bahrain, which yeah, so hopefully I can make amends this season in Monaco.
Just have to wait and see. Well, obviously, good job on the points today. Obviously, getting yourself back in the order after the incident early on. And that will more or less do it then for post interviews. And that'll do it for coverage here tonight of the Races Driving League Season 19, Round 7 here at Imola. Hope you guys did enjoy it. The 28th of July, we're back here next week for the Monaco Grand Prix, our second full-length race of this campaign. And we'll see who's got the chops around the streets of the Casino Square. And I'm just waffling at this point. So that'll do it then. Make sure to subscribe for more future audio content. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you all soon. Goodbye.